To order.
We gotta call Kenneth too. Have you called him yet? Yeah.
Okay. We need to.
Hey, Kenneth. I got you on speakerphone. We're fixing to start.
Oh, okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey, Chandler, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Sure. I just want to see if we could amend the agenda to add Becca Scott. She was wanting to address the board. She's with the Southwestern Commission. Hey, Becca. And, reference to grant administration.
Yeah.
You want to put her as number 2 on new business?
Okay.
Make a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
I'll say.
All in favor? All right, Mr. Sturrow has the floor.
Can I'm making a, I'm not.
Everything on that list is pretty much is for Joel to talk about.
It
Should
actually
I
is.
adjust the agenda? I don't have the
Or you
authority
want to
do
put
that.
her before you?
No, I was, Becca can go whenever she needs to, but, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers Water and Sewer funding, that's the new funding that the Corps has. I told Tom and Valerie that we would call them at 3 o'clock on speakerphone to get their overview.
Okay.
So we may need to jump in and take that.
Okay.
in
So
about
it
15
need
minutes.
to jump in and do that
Yeah,
then.
exactly.
Okay.
Okay. So we've got several things, some which need action, some which don't. The first one that y'all asked us to look at was the raw water intake property on Tallulah Creek. And I think you already have one, right?
Yeah.
This is a memo I put together. Since Becca's here, I'll give her one too. This is the property that the town owns. I'm not going to read this memo, but basically the town has 3.5 acres of property where the old water plant that's out of commission right now is, and then the maintenance facilities down there as well. And if you look at the map, you'll see that it straddles the creek and heads to the east over toward Dillard Orr Road. And I think Debbie was the one that was approached by the school board. The school's building a new elementary school on the site across the creek, and they would like to talk with the town about potentially using that piece of property that's on the other side of the creek. Not to put a structure on it, certainly, but like a walking trail or a playground or something like that, that would be an amenity or affiliated with the elementary school. And the only restriction that the town has is that's a water supply watershed, and the little low head dam there's in the creek. You can see it in the picture. So everything above that point is subject to some sort of restriction in terms of the density of development that can be allowed on the property. And for that particular tract that's considered in the critical area, there can't be any more impervious surface other than as much as 24% of the land area. And so that'll affect the school construction too. I mean, they'll have to put some erosion control measures in and everything as well. But the subject at hand would be whether the town would be willing to offer the property up for an alternative use for the school system. And I don't see any reason why you shouldn't do that. I would advise, as I say down here in the recommendations, that you don't sell it to them or let them take ownership of it some other way. You ought to keep control of it, since it is a water supply watershed, and perhaps lease it to them for a compliant use, such as a playground or a greenway. I'll also notice that on the north side of the creek here, from Dillard Orr Road, it kind of follows the creek. you'll have a gravity sewer there, a sanitary sewer, and it has an easement. And so if the county did put a walking trail, it'd probably be smart to just go ahead and put it in that easement, is, you know, because it's already somewhat disturbed, instead of, you know, cutting through the middle of it. So that's my report. If y'all like to discuss it, you know, I'm happy to answer any questions about it. But I don't see anything that would complicate this intended use that the school might have.
And I didn't find anything that would complicate the town leasing it to the school. You probably, as he was talking about, want to put some restrictions in the lease as to what they can do with it, as far as structures or anything. You know, obviously these qualifications here, but I believe that it's fine. I did speak with Brady Cody first. He wouldn't be able to do the lease, but I think Mac would if you decide to go that direction.
Okay.
And I'll say one more thing about this particular project, because it involves a new elementary school. The school's going to need some water, and we're going to talk about a project that would do this, that here when we talk about the core funding. But that core funding to do that water line is going to require some kind of match. So it could be you can work out some kind of deal with the school board to offer up some money to help match that grant money, because they're going to benefit from it as well. And plus, I mean, you're talking about letting them use this property too. So seems like there could be some horse trading in play there. And I spoke to David Matheson about that, and he seemed like he was pretty open to it.
Okay.
So this doesn't necessarily require any action today, but just wanted to give you all the
Okay.
information.
Thank you, Joe.
Do we need to vote as to where that we need to look into leasing it, Vicki? Or do we need to
We'll let Mac put
allow
something together,
that to be put, yeah.
or maybe a vote to agree to let Mac draft something, because I'm sure there'll be an expense even if he drafted it, and then you'd have the chance to approve it.
Kenneth, have you been able to hear what Vicki said?
Yeah, I did,
Okay,
and I'm 100% okay with it.
me too. Well, I'm gonna make a motion that we allow the Mac Talent real estate law firm to draft up a lease agreement with the school, and just make sure that we attach it in there with, you know, with the restrictions and stuff.
I'll second.
All in favor? Any opposed? All right.
I'll contact Mac and get that.
Okay.
All right, yeah, I've been pretty busy. Yes, I have. Sure. I've got an extra one. Okay, so this next one, and I know Chad Carpenter's going to hug my neck on this one because we've been waiting on this for a long time. This is the meter replacements project for the town, and this is a project that also involves the wells, which we're going to talk about in a minute.
Yeah.
But these new meters will be an ultrasonic type. They're going to be a lot more reliable, and Chad's gone through a lot of the research like we have, and we're looking to put what they call a cam struck meter in. The tribe over in Cherokee, they use that system among other systems here in the West, and they're very reliable. But this letter's longer than it typically would be for a recommendation of award. We took bids back in January, and the apparent low bid was Meter Install Group out of Longview, Texas, and the bid tab is the last page of this handout. And you'll notice that they were a fair bit lower than the second low. And the reason they were apparently was that they were quoting on a meter that did not meet our specification. And we actually had gone through what we call a pre-qualification process with these meters, to where anybody that was going to bid on this project had to sign what we call an addendum that would recognize the meters that we would accept on this project. And there were 3 of them that we accepted, And unfortunately, Meter Install Group did not base their bid on one of those, even though they signed the addendum saying that they would. And I had a conversation with their owner, James Baker. That's in that third paragraph, and was, concluded that he was not going to be willing to submit or base his low bid on one of those pre-approved meters. So, that being the case, his low bid in our parlance is considered non-responsive, and the fact that we couldn't work out a deal with him means that the town, with our recommendation, is able to go to the second low bid, which is Ford Aligned Meter Solutions, which is this cam-struck meter that I just talked about. And you'll notice that the bid is quite a bit higher, and the good news is that with the $2.5 or $2.3 million that we have for this project, that's all grant money coming from ARC, we can afford to accept that bid of $648. In fact, I think the entire budget for that part of the project was like $800,000. So you still have a little bit of wiggle room. You might be able to replace some more meters, as we go along. But this is a very credible bid, and without going into any more detail, I recommend the board vote to approve the contract with Fort Line.
I'm gonna make a motion that we accept the bid from the Fort Line Meter Solutions for the quote that they placed for the water meters.
I'll second that.
All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passed.
So this is a notice of award, Mayor, if you don't mind dating it there and putting your authorized, I think you're already shown there as mayor, but
Yeah.
go ahead and sign it and date it, and I'll take
So
it
will
back.
you be contacting them and they
Yeah.
can?
And we'll start this whole process like we just did with Sweetwater, and we'll have another kickoff meeting like we did with them. So yeah, things are starting to happen here. Yay! And remember too, Amanda, that this comes with new software for the billing, which is going to be huge, because I know you guys have been struggling with that for a while. All right, what time is it?
It's 2:54.
Okay, we got. Let's talk about the water supply wells. That's a pretty easy one too. I won't pass this entire sheet out. Let's put it in the middle of the table. This is our well site up Long Creek. This is the property that you bought from Danny McIntosh. Seems like forever ago, but we sited these wells. There's 6 of them. They have to have a 100-foot radius buffer around them, and the project that I just mentioned with the meters also funds the drilling of these wells, 2 of them, and there'll be 4 for the future. So we want to go ahead and kick that off, and I'm proposing to go ahead and advertise it and take bids here in this room on Tuesday, March 18th at 2 o'clock. So if y'all are okay with that, we'll get that process going, and we can get ourselves some. What'll happen is we'll drill some test wells to make sure there's adequate yield, and then there'll be another contract after that to actually install, the permanent pumps and connect it into the system.
Okay, good deal.
So I don't think that requires a vote, but I just wanted to make sure y'all were okay with that date.
Absolutely.
It's March 18th at 2 p.m.
March 18th at 2 p.m.
All
Yep.
right, sounds good.
Wait a second, hold on. I may need to make that in the morning. Can I look at my schedule real quick? Yeah, I need to make that at 10 o'clock instead of 2. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
All right.
Got to get back for an air quality board meeting in Asheville that day. Okay, so y'all want to call a core? I'll give you a little bit of a primer on this first, and then I'll call one.
We're good with naming it for a little while. I thought
You okay, but yeah.
He's just moving right along, ain't he?
So the Corps of Engineers, Tom Herbert, who we're going to call here in a minute, and Valerie McCormick, they're out of the Nashville office, and the reason that this area is part of their jurisdiction is Corps of Engineers districts are organized by watersheds. So water from here flows into Tennessee, so Nashville gets the They're the head office for this region. Like,
Yeah.
for example, Eastern North Carolina, there's a Wilmington office because all the water that direction flows east.
Yeah.
But they have $3.474 million to give to Robbinsville as a grant under the condition that y'all match it with 25%. So that's 25% above the 3.4. So that's roughly somewhere in the $800,000 range. So any project that you do, water sewer wise, you would have to come up with additional money to be able to leverage their money. And we talked about several things. We talked about the school possibly if we do this water line project. And I know not Golden Leaf, Dogwood
Dogwood.
Trust is another funding source too. And Becca can probably help with some of the communication maybe if need be on that. But that's going to be the biggest hurdle for y'all is to come up with that match money. So I just as a point of reference, so I'm going to call Tom right now, and I'm thinking he's going to want to propose to have an on-site meeting here to talk about the projects. I'd sent you all an email earlier today on the school project, and I know the Atoa Street, Circle Street project is another one that's somewhat of a priority for the town.
Hey,
Now
Kevin.
you got this Main Street thing going on, so
Yeah.
let me see if I can give him a call.
He's calling the Corps of Engineers.
Kenneth, did you hear the part about he has what the amount of funding they have, but you'd be required to match 25% of whatever you used grant funding?
Okay.
Hi, Tom. It's Joel Storrow.
Hey, Joel.
Okay, if I put you on speakerphone here?
Sure.
Okay. So this is Tom Herbert. He's with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. Tom, I've got the Board of Aldermen here, Mayor Sean Adams, Alderman Debbie Beasley, and Alderman Kenneth Hyde, among other folks. Vicky, their attorney, is here as well. So we were wanting to see if you could just kind of give us an overview of the funding and the constraints on it, the matching money, etc.
Okay, sure, thanks. And I'll introduce myself. I'm Tom Herbert. I work out of the National District Corps Office. So our civil works boundary includes all things Tennessee River damage, which is why it's us and not Wilmington over there. Wilmington handles regulatory boundary. But in this case, we have some projects that were funded out of the DERSA 25, which passed there right before Christmas in December. And it included infrastructure projects, or we call infrastructure projects for water and sewer. And so one of those that got selected is in the Section 219 program, which is, it's really for North Carolina. It's eligible communities for sewer, water, or stormwater improvements. And there isn't, I guess, Joel, we talked last week, and I talked to the utility, somebody from the plant, Chad Carpenter. So I've been in discussions with folks about what the plan could be. But in short, the 219 program allows us to do water or sewer work, and then it is done in a cost share basis. And so those projects are 75% federal and then 25% local. And the local match can come in various ways, either state funds or local county funds, city funds, or combinations of those and land values, for example. So that's kind of the short version of it. I don't know if there were, maybe other questions that folks may have, or if there's more specific to cover about that maybe program. I will say too, I've been kind of trying to communicate a lot of this on the front end. We have not had those funds arrive yet. How it works for us is that this was approved in a spend plan that got approved to our headquarters, got sent up to administration, which is Office of Management and Budget, and this project was selected for funding. We don't have it yet, but it should be, they say any week. So I would hope that it starts in March, and then we can be able to come down and do a meeting kind of where we go over these kind of steps together, and or whoever gets designated from the town to work with us, and then we kind of go through those steps in detail.
So do y'all want to try to set up a meeting? Specific, and Tom, do you have a date in mind that you guys would come down?
I do not. I think for this we would probably need maybe funds to arrive, so we've got ability to travel.
Okay.
So what I could do maybe is we could look at some potential dates, and then we don't control the funding arrival, but it makes sense for maybe the early March to mid-March would be what I would hope. And then if we need to, maybe we could do something between now and then. We could share questions, and then I would have maybe presentation to go through, or some details of here's how a Section 219 project worked in a different community, and then maybe kind of show examples of how the project should go.
So we already have one meeting in March.
Yeah, we were thinking we're taking bids, or the town's taking bids, Tom, on a water supply well drilling contract on the 18th of March, which is a Tuesday, at 10 o'clock, and that won't take long. But so if like at 11 o'clock, possibly that day could work.
Okay. That could work.
Okay. So maybe possibly target that. I had sent you a couple of projects that I know the town was interested in potentially pursuing. Did you get that this morning?
I see if I can pull that up.
It's not that important to talk about it.